McLean's back to pass. He's got a man open, and he catches the ball, and it's going to be a touchdown for Coolidge. Oh, my goodness, Jerry, did you see that?
Tremendous
He
play.
comes from out of nowhere and throws a 48-yard touchdown pass, and the fans are going wild here in Coolidge.
Rock steady. Yeah! I like that right there. Blue Eye, what's happening, baby? Doing up you and that Waterway crew. My main man Mike right there, down the green crew. Ready at? Hot boy down, hot freak on the corner. Yeah! Give it in, y'all. That's what I'm talking about. We're going to see the first president against all the Southeast crew because they couldn't afford it. We got to beat the make it freaking beat, y'all. What's happening, Blues and Blues? Hang on there, baby. My main man, Fish, the rest of the crew. We gonna do this for y'all one more time now. Bring it on down. Give it here. That's what I'm talking about. First on the list of things we got to do, we got to send one out to you and your crew. Who's that? My main man, Big Dean, and also Nat. Doing out of Southeast Twins, Darlene and Charlene too, because they all come to party. Bring it on down now. That's what I'm talking about. My main man. Hang on in there, baby. Don't do that, baby. Don't do that right there, because you know what kind of trouble that caused. You know what kind of trouble that caused. Don't get me started now. Don't get me started. Before I get started, hey, fellas, why don't y'all give me that groove one time so we can roll with this rhythm here, y'all. Roll with the rhythm, baby. Hey, Blue Eye, we got to beat the making freaking thing. Ain't that right? Ain't that right, baby? Yes, Lord. Doing out of y'all now. One more time, come on and bring it on down. Yeah. We sound so funky. Oh my goodness, disco. You know, I cannot leave out my main man, Mike.
It's week number 5 of Shell Shock Productions' 1991 DCIAA Football Game of the Week. And tonight, it's divisional play, the opening night of divisional play from the campus of Roosevelt High School, 13th and Upshur Streets in Northwest Washington, D.C., where the home-standing Theodore Roosevelt Rough Riders will take on the visiting McKinley Tech Trainers. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for tuning in to DCTV Cable 34. Tonight on the campus of Roosevelt, we have a couple of struggling teams competing tonight, looking for a win that will put them in first place of the the DCIAA's Western Division. You got the homestanding Roosevelt Rough Riders coming off a 10-0 defeat of the Anacostia Indians last week. As you get a good look at the team captains from Roosevelt and McKinley there on the midfield. Roosevelt fell to the Indians, which was their third consecutive loss of the season. As far as the as far as the visiting McKinley Tech Trainers are concerned, they're coming off a 40-0 defeat to the H.D. Woodson Warriors. And Tech comes in here with a record of 1-2. Roosevelt is struggling with an 0-3 record, but for Roosevelt's credit, they gave the H.D. Woodson Warriors a handful in the first game of the season as they fell to the Warriors by a score of only 8-6. And a big surprise to H.D. followers. In any case, the Roosevelt Rough Riders were shut out in their next 2 games as they were shut out by Cardozo in the Earl Richards Memorial. They were shut out by Eastern in the Earl Richards Memorial Classic, 38-0. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, they were shut out last week by Anacostia 10-0. McKinley, on the other hand, they started the season on a winning note. They knocked off Spingarn 13-8. And then they fell to Anacostia, and last week, as I had mentioned, to H.D. Woodson. I'm Shelley Bowers, Jr., And hopefully, after a while, joining us Mike's side will be our colleagues, but for now, you're stuck with me. We had a big broadcast last week at Eastern High School when the Ramblers knocked off, I should say the Ramblers fell to DeMatha of the Metro Conference by a score of 29-26, and undoubtedly, tonight's ball game will be just as exciting, if not, as you see the officials blowing the whistle, signaling they want the players to report to their respective sidelines so that we may begin this ball game. We understand that the scoreboard clock will be official, so that's good news for us tonight. We can rely on the clock. As you get a good look at the McKinley Tech trainers wearing their road white uniforms, and the Roosevelt Rough Riders to our right are wearing their home blue jerseys with white pants. And if you refer to the head coaches, well, you got two different head coaches coming in here. You got a newcomer and the dean. As you take a look at head coach James Tillerson there in the middle of your picture, the dean of coaching in the DCIAA. He'll be leading the Rough Riders tonight. And on the flip side of the coin, you got Alvin Queen over there at McKinley Tech in his first season handling the coaching responsibilities over there. So it's going to be interesting to see how the youngster handles the elder this evening. This is the divisional opener for both teams. The winner of this game will be tied with Cardozo for first place in the DCIAA Western Division. Cardozo knocked off Bell easily this past weekend. They will also be tied with the winner of the Dunbar-Wilson game. That game is pending. As we are taping this game, the Dunbar-Wilson game will take place tomorrow morning. But by the time you see this on DCTV Cable 34, you will already know who won that game between Dunbar and Wilson. So we'll have a three-way tie for first place. Excuse me, as my voice starts to crack. Too early for my voice to crack. The game hasn't even started yet. As you get a good look at the teams getting set here on midfield. Mike, talk about the starting quarterbacks for both teams. It's going to be number 12 on both sides for the visiting McKinley Tech trainers. It'll be Gordon Wilson, who's a junior, but this is his first year playing organized ball. So it's going to be interesting to see how well Gordon performs this evening. For Roosevelt, their starting quarterback will be number 12 also, Frank Crisp. He's a 5'8", 165-pound junior. So we got a couple of juniors starting at quarterback for both teams. The difference is the McKinley quarterback is relatively inexperienced, having only 3 games under his belt. So it's going to be interesting to see how the quarterback matchup turns out. McKinley has won the toss and is elected to receive. They'll be defending the south end zone. The Rough Riders will be kicking off. Max Mitchell, number 77, to do the kicking honors. Big Max is 6'2", 255 pounds, and we are underway. Scribble kick taken at about midfield by the trainers, and return to, I should say it was taken at about the 40-yard line, return to close to the 45-yard line, where the trainers will take over first and 10 from that point. Only 2 seconds ran off the clock, so with 11:58 remaining in the first period, no score. The trainers will operate first with the ball at their own 43-yard line.
Watch what happened. Watch this. I thought Dave was on. He got trouble.
And here's our first play from scrimmage. Number 12, Gordon Wilson. Wilson, draw play here to the near sideline is number 31. The ball carrier for the trainers is Andre Baltimore. Baltimore gets across the 45 for a hard-earned 4 yards. Call it second down and about 6. Oh, they'll only give him about 3, so call it second down and a short 7. We ask our viewers to bear with us as the roster for McKinley is not in numerical order, so it's going to be kind of difficult for us to catch up with these players' names. Second down and 7 coming up. Gordon again hands off to Baltimore, and this time Baltimore is brought down behind the line of scrimmage. The big fella, number 77, Max Mitchell, on the tackle. And as we had mentioned, Max Mitchell handled the kicking chores at the beginning of the game for the Rough Riders. Mitchell is a 6'2", 255-pound senior, and they got him listed down here as playing defensive lineman, offensive lineman, and kicker. So Mitchell, an all-around player for the Rough Riders. A loss of 4 in the last play brings us up to 3rd down and 11 situation. Gordon going to the air. Got a man incomplete, and a flag is on the play. We're going to have pass interference called against the Rough Riders. The intended receiver, if I'm not mistaken, was number 2, Troy Russell. And here's the official's indication. Yes, pass interference is called against the defense. And that's a big mistake for Roosevelt, because if I'm not mistaken, that'll be just enough to give McKinley a 1st down. Let's see how they mark this off. And let's see how they, as you see, well, I'm looking at the head official talking to one of the McKinley captains here at midfield, and they're debating on what they're going to do. And they've decided to it will be an automatic 1st down, and they're going to march off 10 yards. That'll give the trainers a 1st down. So Roosevelt commits the first big mistake as Tech, after an incomplete pass on 3rd and 10, gets new life on the penalty, 15-yarder. It's going to be in Roosevelt territory. 1st and 10 McKinley from the Roosevelt 41-yard line with 10:25 remaining in the 1st period. Gordon, again, a draw play for the trainers, right up the middle, still on his feet, struggling for additional yardage. The ball carrier is number 14. And he's not on our roster, so I can't give him any credit. At least I can't acknowledge his name, so we can give him credit. He got 2 yards. In any case, it's going to bring up 2nd down and 8. He didn't get as much as I thought he did. 2nd down and 8 coming up for the trainers. And again, they keep the ball on the ground. This time the ball carrier is number 44, if I'm not mistaken. And he, too, is not on our roster. So, again, keep in mind, folks, we ask you to bear with us as the McKinley roster is not in numerical order. And I'm sorry, we do have his name on our roster. 44 is Willie Evans, I'm sorry. So bear with us as we try to get these names straight from McKinley. We have a stoppage of play. No, we don't. And the pass is complete at about the 30-yard line, close to a 1st down. And I do believe McKinley is going to pick up their 2nd 1st down of the ball game, depending on where they spot it. Let's see how they spot it. There you see the official asking for a stoppage of the clock as they bring on the chains from here on the near side to do a measurement. So with 8:51 remaining in the 1st period and no score, we have our first measurement of the game. And let's see how close this is. I do believe he had it, but they're going to check just to make sure. Just into... Well, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't place the other line first. Let's see how it is. When they stretch it and all said and done, Yeah, get out the way, man. We can't see. I'm talking to the referee here. He obviously can't hear me. And I do believe he's going to be just shy of it. He did get it. They're going to give it to him. So it's going to be first down and 10 coming up for McKinley. And they're going to spot the ball at the 35-yard line. So McKinley is in good shape with 8:51 remaining in the first period. And they start the clock, and we're ready to resume play. Split backfield for Gordon. Gordon on the sweep here to the left side. Good blocking in front. Flag is on a play, and number 31 is your ball carrier. That's Baltimore. We had some good blocking, I thought, but it may be an illegal block, depending on how the officials rule it. Let's see what the good guy in the white cap calls. The Roosevelt players are indicating push McKinley back, so it will be against McKinley, evidently, as you see the good guy in the white cap indicating personal foul clipping. That's going to be a 15-yarder. And that'll back up the trainers to make a second down and 25 situation coming up. Line. Second down and 25 coming up. With 8:38 remaining in the first period. Gordon is back to pass and is sacked. And that's going to be a loss of about 6 yards, bring up third down and about 31. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's third down. They have the yard marker wrong. They had first down on the yard marker. But I'm assuming it's third down. But you know what happens when you assume. Gordon's back to pass, under pressure again. He escapes one tackle, and now he's on his own. And Gordon is brought down behind the line of scrimmage for another loss of about 3 yards and a late flag on a play. And this could be unnecessary roughness. This could be a late hit against Roosevelt on this throw. That's a big blow again to the Rough Riders, because that would have been fourth down and long for McKinley. But if it's an unnecessary roughness against Roosevelt, this could be a first down for McKinley. Dead ball, unnecessary roughness, Roosevelt. So again, mental mistakes are hurting Roosevelt. So instead of being fourth and about 35, McKinley is going to get another automatic first down off a Roosevelt penalty. So in less than 5 minutes, Roosevelt has accumulated 2 penalties already. Have it first and 10 from the Roosevelt 43-yard line. Clock is running. 7:25 remaining in the first period. Gordon throws a little screen here to the near sideline. Running back trying to get some breathing room. and it's close to another McKinley first down. He's going to be brought down shy of it. That's number 44, Willie Evans again. And that's going to bring up a second down and short. Wait a minute, he did get his first down. He did get his first down. Or did he? Well, I don't know, I'm confused here. I don't know what down it is, so I'm not going to even lie to you all. And now Gordon Wilson doesn't even know what the deal is himself. But I think about it, I don't even see. Okay, McKinley was missing a player. But I don't even see Gordon Wilson out there, so maybe it was fourth down. And McKinley was trying to get his punting unit on the field, and somebody forgot their assignment. And I don't. And McKinley will punt. The trainers, by the way, do have a kicking game. So if they get within range, they will try for field goals, I'm sure. Here's the punt by number 74 of the trainers. It's a short punt. Takes a McKinley bounce, and it's going to die inside the 10-yard line at about the 6. Good punt by number 74 for the trainer. That's Rufus Brooks. Brooks' kick dies at about the 6-yard line. From the spin of the ball, rather, it looked like the ball was going to easily go into the end zone for a touchback. But it took a artificial turf bounce, I guess you could say. Actually, that was more or less like a natural grass bounce if you stop to think about it. And this is natural grass that we're playing on, thank goodness. In any case, the Rough Riders will have their first possession of the game at their own 6-yard line, 1st and 10. Draw play straight up the middle, breaking tackles for a big hole and a big gain is number 44 for the Rough Riders, Robert Gladden. Gladden is a 5'9", 165-pound senior, close to a Roosevelt first down, and he does have it. So Roosevelt gets their first down in the ball game as they move the chain. Again, your quarterback for the Rough Riders, number 12, Frank Chris. Chris again hands off to number 44. Struggling for yardage is Gladden again. This time Gladden is limited to only about 3 yards. And he'll bring up a second down, rather. 7 yards to go for the first. We'll give him 4. Give him the benefit of the doubt. So it'll be second down and 6 yards to go. Midway through the first period, no score. Roosevelt and McKinley in a West Division opener for both teams. Gladden making his call with one back in the backfield, and he hands off to him. And trying to lean forward for the first down yardage is number 36, if I'm not mistaken. And that's Michael DeVore, 6'2", 220-pounder. DeVore gets a hard-earned yard or two. Call it third down and a long 3. Better yet, let's call it a short 4. Play it safe.
Third down, you got your first down.
Here's Chris on a third down and short. On the option to the left side, and some miscommunication in the Roosevelt backfield causes them to lose some yardage. And that's going to bring up a 4th down and punting situation coming up for the Rough Riders. So the Rough Riders will punt, and again the big fella, number 77, will handle the kicking responsibilities for the Rough Riders. That's Mitchell. Mitchell gets a high snap, but he's a big boy, so he brings it down. High kick, but it's short. Takes a neutral bounce. Now it takes a McKinley bounce and is finally down at about the 47-yard line of Roosevelt. So the trainers, again, will have excellent field position. First and 10. They're going to spot it at their own, at the Roosevelt, rather, 46-yard line, excuse me. With 3:12 remaining in the first period. No score. And now here comes Gordon Wilson again for the trainers. Two backs in the backfield this go-around. Wilson hands off to number 44. Wide open, got some room to work with. And ran past one Rough Rider for a McKinley Tech first down. That's Evans. Evans gets a trainer first down as they move the chains here in the near sideline, and the McKinley bench starting to come to life. Unofficially for McKinley, that is their third first down of the ball game. Can you believe it? They're going to spot the ball at the Roosevelt 29-yard line. Wilson this time hands off to number 34, trying to turn the corner here in the near sideline, running out of real estate, and is finally brought down for a loss of about 2 yards of the ball carrier for the trainers. Number 34, he is not on, yes he is, Adrian Blake. So Blake loses about 2. Call it second down. And we'll say second and 11. Say he only lost 1. Why not? Hey, I'm that kind of a guy, you know? The Friday night, laid-back type of mood. Wilson out of the pocket, looking in the middle, deflected and intercepted at about the 10-yard line. Returned to about the 20, 25. Flags on to play. And finally brought down at about the 27-yard line. We have an injured trainer on the field. And he is in pain. Big number 70 is in pain for the trainers. But we do have flags on the play. This may be offsetting penalties. I believe we're going to have a penalty on McKinley before the pass and a penalty on Roosevelt on the return on the interception. As number 70, as you see there, B.
Hello.
Nope.
Hello.
Turn that back down. Try number 2.
Hello.
Nope. Go to
Hello.
there you go.
All right.
All right, so Roosevelt does have the ball.
Are these new bleachers?
No, no.
Yeah, because Frank got
So Roosevelt will have the ball after one turnover in the ball game, after a 1-yard gain on the last play. Second down and 9 coming up from their own 41-yard line.
8 o'clock.
And we have a stoppage of play again. Flags on the play.
Sorry I'm late, Shelley. Can you tell me what I missed? I think it's cold out here with a pretty decent crowd, some loyal fans.
No, Joe, I can't tell you what you missed. But, yes, it is a little chilly out here. And a lot of fans out here. No.
Encourage me to get here on time.
McKinley was driving on their first 2 drives, thanks to some penalties by Roosevelt. But now Roosevelt is starting to take advantage of some McKinley penalties. A turnover by the trainers has given the Rough Riders the ball, and they now have it 1st and 5. And now another flag is going to be called against McKinley, and that'll give the Rough Riders a first down. So each team, even though they have 3 games under their belt, this first period is not over, and already we have about 6 penalties in the ball game. About 3 on each. Queens.
All right.
Man, I thought you graduated from Howard, man. You can't be talking like that. That's a DC thing. Number 16 was your ball carrier for the Rough Riders, and Barry Cobb was wrestled down by, Joe, did you get the number of that truck? I believe it was 51. Vernon Ham. And he just made some ham out of Cobb for a loss on the play. 2nd down and 13 after a 3-yard loss. And now we have goose eggs on the clock. So we've played 12 minutes of ball, no score, between the Roosevelt Rough Riders and the McKinley Tech Trainers here. As these same Rough Riders will play host to the Cardinals of Bishop Ireton High School of the Metro Conference. That game will be played Friday night right here in Roosevelt at 7 o'clock. Hope to see you here. If you can't make it, no problem. We'll televise it for you right here on DCTV Cable 34 next Wednesday night at 8. Thing here is because I've just offered to all the ladies a free kiss after the game. No. Now, the Roosevelt cheerleaders, as you see there in your picture, made their way out here. McKinley cheerleaders are already out there on the track to our right. Dude, sit down. We can't see the ladies, man.
Too much time in your hands.
If they get the game on the way, man, I wouldn't have to go through these moves, man. All right, we're ready to start the 2nd quarter. Play action here to the near side. Look at this. Pick off and all the way to the end zone. Number 81 for McKinley. Touchdown, Trainers. Number 81 just took the ball from the quarterback. As you hear the boo birds here in Roosevelt, Frank Chris was robbed.
I don't think he took it from him. I think he kind of was full and it was going out of his hand. It was almost like a handoff.
Boy, and listen to this Roosevelt crowd. They are displeased with the capital D. I do mean this. Donovan Money for the Trainers runs 50 yards for a McKinley touchdown.
It's a fine play.
And the Trainers will go for the point after touchdown. This is Idris Onabudo here to do the place kicking honors. And we had mentioned to you at the beginning of the game, as you see McKinley calling a timeout, that McKinley's place kicker, Idris Onabudo, he's a legitimate kicker. He can kick the ball. He's left-footed too. So he'll try to put the Trainers up by 7 with 11:50 remaining in the first half.
This is pretty good. I like to see teams with a kicking game. I think it's a potent weapon, and it's kind of sad when some don't have it.
And let's get a good look and listen at the Roosevelt cheerleaders during this timeout.
So we have the extra point coming up.
Here's the kick. Good snap. Kick is up and straight through. No, it didn't go straight through. I thought it went through, but we don't have the best angle up here. In any case, the score will stand. Roosevelt 6. McKinley 6. Roosevelt 0. With 11:50 remaining in the second quail. I'm curious, Joe. The way Onabudo kicks. I wonder why he doesn't. Well, of course, you just got here, but I'm trying to figure out why he doesn't do the kickoff place kicking in addition to the field goal and point after touchdown place kicking. Maybe it's something I don't know about.
Maybe he's accurate, but doesn't have a very strong leg. I think there's I can't remember, there's an NFL team that carries 2 kickers, and one is a long kicker and one is a short kicker.
I see, said the blind man.
That's right. Let Mambo get that thing. I guarantee you.
This is the first time I've seen McKinley also in their white uniforms. I've always seen them in the dark burgundy maroon-colored uniform.
Usually away teams wear white uniforms, Joe. I don't know if you noticed that.
No, but I mean, this is our third year, and I guess it's the first time we've covered them away. I don't know whether you've noticed that.
The ensuing kickoff. Taking it about the 25-yard line. Straight up the middle is number 44 for the Rough Riders. That is Gladden. So if we don't have a good game of football tonight, at least Joe and I will provide the entertainment by dissing one another.
Yes.
I guess it's my turn now.
This is the disc bowl. Turn up the volume.
First and 10 for Frank Chris and the Roosevelt Rough Riders from their own 42-yard line. 11:30 remaining in the first half. Gladden on a rollout to the right side on the option. Keeps it and is brought down from the shoulder pad for about a gain of 1. Looking here in the stadium, the bleacher seats, we have Roosevelt fans, young and old alike.
Roosevelt is the high school of our crew member of last year. Yeah, also our mayor, Eric Jones. But
no, not Eric Jones, the mayor. Eric Jones, the camera operator, folks.
Oh, I was saying the mayor also.
Second down to 9 after a gain of 1 on the play. Gladden, I'm sorry, no. Number 16 is your ball carrier. That's Cobb. Cobb does a 360 for decent yardage. Close to a Roosevelt first down. Third and about 1.
That's a fine run, Shelley. Reminds me of the run, the play that the Redskins have. I think it's the counter tray. The kid put in a little spin move to pick up about 7 yards, looks like.
Third down and about 2 coming up for the Rough Riders. Unofficially, they're 0 for 1 on third down conversion. First down, Roosevelt, as they get the ball across the midfield stripe. Again, that is Cobb, your ball carrier.
You know, we have to really give it to the Roosevelt offensive line. They're opening up some holes. The backfield, they're pretty quick. They don't show exceedingly great speed, but the Roosevelt offensive line is definitely opening up some holes at the line of scrimmage.
It'll be first and 10 for the Rough Riders from the McKinley 49-yard line. Roosevelt, unofficially, that is their third first down of this ball game. And for a change, we've had back-to-back plays without penalties. That's a good sign, and maybe I spoke too soon, Joe. As we have our 7th penalty of the ball game. And so far it's 3 against Roosevelt, 3 against McKinley. This will be the tiebreaker right here. And looks like this is going to go against Roosevelt. No, it's going to go against McKinley. So encroachment is called against the trainers. We'll make it first and 5 from the 44. First and 5. Again, up the middle is Gladden. Gladden trying to turn the corner on the near side. Gladden forced out of bounds at the 30-yard line for another Roosevelt first down.
It's a good run by Gladden. Worked very hard to get to the outside and picked up an extra 8 yards at least.
Roosevelt's 4th first down of the ball game now. Clock is stopped with 9:23 remaining in the second period. The Rough Riders trying to draw blood first. Chris. Hands off to Gladden again. Gladden keeps his feet moving to get decent yardage again. Pickup of about 3 will bring up 2nd and 7. Boy, Joe, I thought my girls were pretty tough. Wilson cheerleaders, but Roosevelt cheerleaders are really whipping it up here.
Yeah, put in a lot of practice, and I think they've gotten a chance to warm up. Like, it's pretty cool out here, so I guess in order to stay warm, they're going to put on a really long, hot show. More people coming.
I was about to say, you hear applause every time the Roosevelt cheerleaders do something, but you don't know if they're cheering for the cheerleaders or the team. As we see another stoppage of play, another flag. And this time, again, it's going against McKinley. Encroachment. That'll give Roosevelt, well, it may not be enough for a first down, but it'll be close. It'll be 2nd and 1. It'll be a major concern for first-year coach Alvin Queen. 2nd down and 1. Chris. Gladden stumbles on the turf and could have had a first down. Instead, is just fortunate enough to get back to the original line of scrimmage.
Like a case of the phantom tackler. Down 5 beyond the line of scrimmage.
Gladden may have even lost a half a yard. Call it 3rd down and 2. So far for the Rough Riders, they're 0 for 2 on 3rd down conversion. Unofficially. We're keeping our own stats here, folks. Gladden up the middle. Gladden still on his feet. Finally brought down inside the 20-yard line. Inside the 15, actually. But the important thing is he got another Rough Rider first down. As Roosevelt is now in the McKinley red zone with just over 7.5 minutes remaining in the first period. They're going to spot the ball at about the 12-yard line, so Roosevelt can get another first down without getting in the end zone. 1st and 10. The Rough Riders pick up their 5th first down of the half, unofficially. Chris again hands off to Gladden, and this time Gladden is wrestled. I was going to say wrestled down, but the officials blew the whistle before they could get Gladden down to the turf. Anyway, it's going to be a loss on the play.
I'm not sure a hole developed there for Gladden. He seemed to be looking for the best place to go. And unfortunately, the McKinley defense collapsed on him. I think he took a slight loss.
2nd down and 11 coming up from the 13. Clock is running, just under 6.5 remaining in the second period. No score, but the Rough Riders are threatening. Chris is your quarterback. Hands off to Gladden again. Gladden bangs off of 1 tackle, but is brought down after a pickup of about 2 yards, maybe 3. It's going to be 3rd down and long. Heard one person right here in the stands, Joe, was mentioning that Coach Tillerson's philosophy, run the ball. And it's interesting enough that I don't think Chris has put the ball up in the air yet. And they've been running and running and running. One would think that Coach Tillerson may opt to go to the air any time now. Maybe a little post pattern there in the corner of the end zone. We'll see. I'm no coach. He's the dean. I'll let him do the coaching. 3rd down and 5 coming up for the Rough Riders. Chris on the option here to the left side. Actually, it's a play action. Chris running for his life. Throws the ball in the end zone. Wide open. Incomplete. And the Roosevelt fans are in dismay. Wide open was number 27, Lumumba Yancey. And that is one Yancey we'll never forget for a while, Joe.
I tell you have to give Chris a lot of credit for his scrambling around the way he did in finding the open man. That was an excellent job on the quarterback's part. Excellent.
So Roosevelt is now 0 for 4 on 3rd down conversions, and Coach Tillerson decides to call timeout. as he is now facing a 4th and 5 situation. As you get a good look at the Roosevelt cheerleaders, let's listen and look and enjoy.
That ball was in his hand. Every week at the game, the field was wrong. The rain got my
Pan right, Ricardo. Let me get an isolation shot.
Will jump out to be goal.
All right, here we go. 4th down and 5. The Rough Riders are going for it. We'll see what Chris has up his sleeve as per the instructions of head coach James Tillerson. Chris rolling to his right, looking back to his left, throws right, incomplete. The ball will go over on downs. The intended receiver was number 18 for the Rough Riders, but it was broken up by number 31 for the Trainers. The intended receiver was Anthony Lancaster. Andre Baltimore for Tech on the defense. And the Trainers hold defensively, and they'll take over on down.
That was a good recovery on Chris's part. I thought he was going to be a little bit more tentative throwing to his receivers. I thought maybe his confidence in them would have went down a little bit, but he hung in there, threw it. It was nicked by a McKinley player, and still it was a Roosevelt player behind the McKinley defender who could have possibly caught that for a touchdown.
1st and 10 for the Trainers from their own 6-yard line. 4:54 remaining in the first half. Gordon Wilson is your quarterback for Tech. Wilson rolling to his right and just throws the ball out of bounds. Looking for it, number 2, Troy Russell.
He better be lucky that the defender on Roosevelt, number 34, Jabril Bass, was playing the man and not the ball, because the McKinley player was on his way upfield and the ball was thrown sort of in an out pattern.
Flag is on the play. The good guy in the white cap calls illegal man downfield against McKinley. Even the alumni can get into the act sometimes, huh, Joe?
Absolutely. He did a wonderful job.
Back to the game. And look at this. Big hole for number 44. And that is Willie Evans again. I'm wondering about Evans, Joe. He keeps going for that sideline. He doesn't want to go straight up the middle. You know, the closest points between, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line.
Maybe you've seen a lot of old Franco Harris clips.
In any case, Evans got some good yardage, enough for a McKinley Tech 1st down. That's their 4th of the game unofficially. They're now at their own 19-yard line. Again, they put the ball on the ground, same play. Evans again is your ball carrier. Evans again close to another McKinley 1st down.
Something about that play. I thought about 3 or 4 people had the ball. It took me a while to finally find the football.
Come on, Joe, just admit it. You were just watching the cheerleaders, man. You had your eyes on the cheerleaders and you missed the play.
No, I wasn't.
Another 1st down for McKinley, their 5th of the ball game. 1st and 10 from their own 31-yard line now. Again, they give it to Evans. And this time, Evans is stopped short. 2nd down and long. 2nd and about 8. Don't worry, folks, for you McKinley fans. We'll get to the McKinley cheerleaders after a while. It's just hard. It's a hard angle for us because they're so far down here to our far side. But we'll get to them just as soon as we can. Second down and 8 from the 33. Clock is running, exactly 3.5 remaining in the first half. And this time, the Roosevelt defensive front stacks up the ball carrier, number 34, Blake. And Blake is lucky to get back to the original line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd down and 8 from the 33. Unofficially, McKinley is 0 for 1 on 3rd down conversions. This will be a 3rd and 8 situation for Tech. Just over 2.5 remaining in the second period. A delayed draw to number 31, Baltimore. Baltimore stopped after a loss of a yard. He lost the yard, I should say. Bring up a 4th down and 11. 4th down and 9, I'm sorry. Fourth and 9 coming up for the Trainers. And they're going to punt, it appears. Roosevelt is making a late substitution. Roosevelt may have too many men on the field. And I don't know what kind of a punt that was, but it takes a McKinley bounce. Picked up a Gladden. Gladden looking for some daylight. Escapes one tackler. Still looking for daylight. And is finally wrestled down at the Roosevelt 45-yard line with $1.44 remaining. Evidently, Roosevelt did not have too many players on the field.
I tell you,
wait a minute. We have a roughing the kicker called against Roosevelt. This is going to bring up a 1st down situation for McKinley, if I'm not mistaken. Because the kicker took some steps before he actually kicked the ball. I don't know how the official ruling is on that, but he took it once. It is to my understanding that once you take a couple of steps, you're just as vulnerable to being roughed up as anybody else on the field.
Let's go to instant replay. This bowl.
First and 10 for the Trainers from their own 45-yard line. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining in the first half. Wilson is sacked. Wilson wanted to go up top, but is brought down after a loss of about 11. Bring up a 2nd down and 21 situation. That is Roosevelt's 2nd sack of the game.
I guess Wilson thought about what happened with Chris and said, hey, I'd rather just take the hit than carve it up for a touchdown. He braced himself for that hit when the defensive player was about 5 yards away, but honing in on him, closing in on him.
And McKinley seems to be content to just let the clock run out as it's running with under 45 seconds remaining in the first half. And they are taking their dear sweet old time as delay of game is going to be called against the Trainers. And we have a new quarterback in for McKinley, number 11. That is Ivory Beldeman. So Beldeman is replacing Gordon Wilson. I don't know if Wilson was injured or if Coach Queen just decided to take him out for a while and see what kind of action he can get out of Beldeman. But Beldeman is your man now for the Trainers. 2nd down and 21. Beldeman. A lateral. It's a fumble in a play. Picked up by Roosevelt, if I'm not mistaken. That's a live ball. And Roosevelt saying they have the ball. Let's see what the good guy in the white cap says. He says it is Roosevelt's ball. So the Rough Riders recover the fumble with 18 seconds remaining in the first half. And the Rough Riders have a chance to get on the scoreboard. But the clock will start as soon as they set the chain. So the Rough Riders must hustle and get set. As soon as they spot the ball, the clock will start. Roosevelt, let's see if they get the play off in time. They start the clock. It's running down with 16 seconds. 15. And Roosevelt will barely get the play off in time if they hustle up. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and they get it off in time. Gladden on the carry, and that'll do it for the first half. So McKinley escapes a bullet as the halftime score will stand at McKinley Tech 6, Roosevelt 0, and we have somebody standing on a car, on top of a car in front of the scoreboard, trying to wave to maybe the officials. I don't know. I don't know if he was trying to tell the officials that. In any case, it is halftime. The second half kickoff. The Trainers will kick off to the Rough Riders this time. The Rough Riders defending the north end zone. The Trainers up 6-0. All right, guys, anytime you're ready now.
Slogan is keep hope alive.
Keep the broadcast alive. The opening kickoff of the second half is fumbled, and I do believe McKinley has recovered. No, they're saying Roosevelt has the ball. The Rough Riders will have it 1st and 10 in excellent field position from their own 48-yard line. So again, mistakes plaguing both teams. Getting a flashback of last time we covered Roosevelt, Joe. They were playing Anacostia here last year at Roosevelt. And I'm getting flashbacks of this game because we more or less have a same scenario. McKinley did get the ball. Tech did get the ball, so it's going to be 1st and 10 for Tech from the Roosevelt 48. I'm getting flashbacks of that game in that neither team is playing to win. It seems like both teams are playing not to lose, which is more or less the way that Roosevelt and Anacostia were playing last year at the same time. Would you agree? Or would you disagree?
I don't remember the game that well from last year, but
all right, then. In any case, we have a 2nd down and long coming up since Joe doesn't want to remember.
No, but however, I do have something that might be applicable. It's a different sport. It's sometimes a team plays...
No, Joe. We don't want to hear about Lady Bud Wrestling tonight.
Okay. Thanks for stopping me, Shelley.
I was just joking with you. 2nd down 11. A loss on the play again. Go ahead, Joe. You were saying about the other sport.
Oh, no, I was going to say, in terms of basketball, the Washington Bullets, a lot of times they play a lot of tough teams well, but someone pointed out to me is that a lot of teams, because of the way they play, they can bring another team down to their level. And perhaps if there was another club on the field other than, the two that are here, just one different one, that there might be a little bit more scoring. But sometimes a team can affect the play of the other team.
3rd down and long coming up for McKinley. So far, they're 0 for 2 on 3rd down conversions. This is going to be a 3rd and 14 situation. Back in the pocket is Wilson. And Wilson again throws incomplete. A flag is on the play. We may have roughing the passer against Roosevelt. Let's see what the good guy in the white cap calls. It is roughing the passer against Roosevelt. That's going to give Tech another 1st down thanks to a Roosevelt penalty. So unofficially for Roosevelt, that is their 5th penalty. 3 of the 5 have resulted in automatic 1st downs for McKinley. And that's what you call beating yourself, Joe.
Absolutely.
That'll move the ball all the way down to the Roosevelt 31-yard line with 10:16 remaining in the 3rd period. Gordon Wilson remains your quarterback for Tech. Wilson from the pocket, looking long. And it's caught. Was he inbound? No, he wasn't. No, it was dropped. The intended receiver was number 83 for the Trainers. And let's see if he's on our roster. He is not. So we can't recognize his name. Again, we have to apologize to our viewers. We don't have the McKinley trainer roster in numerical order. And we don't have we don't have all the players on the roster. Second down and 10 coming up on after the incomplete pass. Wilson again from out of the pocket, looking to the left side this time. Wilson's got some running room, cuts inside and stumbles forward for a gain of about 4 yards. On the tackle for the Rough Riders is number 34, Jabril Bass.
So he really should have headed upfield because he did a lot of running and he only got 4 yards. He should have turned it upfield and say, hey, let me get some positive yards instead of some neutral yards.
That just goes to show you what happens when you try to go east and west instead of north and south. Third down at about 5. They're going to give him 5 yards on the last play. McKinley unofficially is 0 for 3 on third down conversions. They're facing a 3rd and 5 now. Wilson with only one back in the backfield. Again, he's going to pass. And again, he throws the ball out of bounds. And again, he was looking for number 83, who's not on our roster. So it's going to bring up a 4th down punting situation coming up for McKinley. Now, with the ball at the Roosevelt 31-yard line, will McKinley go for it or will they kick it? And they appear to be setting up for the punt. That's number 74 for the trainers to handle the kicking responsibilities. And he is Rufus Brooks. Brooks gets off a low kick, taken at inside the 5-yard line, and returned to about the 12. Can you believe that, Joe? Number 16, the return man, is Barry Cobb. Cobb could have let the ball go in for an easy touchback.
I guess he's been waiting quite a while to run one back.
I don't know. Maybe Cobb was thinking about what happened in the first half when that first punt that McKinley did died right there inside the 5-yard line.
I wasn't here.
No comment. First and 10 for the Rough Riders. They're going to say he only got about to the 8-yard line. Or the 9, we'll say. A draw play goes for naught. No gain. May have even lost the yard. And the Roosevelt cheerleaders are doing the Rider Rock, as they're calling it, Joe.
What'd you say?
The Rider Rock. We'll see if we can't pan over here real quick after this next play. Second down and 10. Frank Chris is your quarterback for Roosevelt. Chris puts the ball on the ground. Number 16, Barry Cobb, appeared to be the ball carrier. Let's check out this Rider Rock. I could do that. Ricardo, I didn't know you had it in you, man. Third down and short. Well, we have a stoppage of play. I believe we're going to have a measurement. No, they're going to give them a first down. So Roosevelt gets their 6th first down of the ball game. They are now 1 for 5 on third down conversions. And as as we had mentioned, this is a divisional opener for both these teams, and since a lot of other schools are idle at this time, a lot of people are out here scouting this game. I've seen a couple of the Wilson coaches out here, and I've seen a couple of the Coolidge players out here. And I'm sure there's some other players and coaches from other schools that are represented out here this evening. First down and 10 for the Roosevelt Rough Riders from their own 20-yard line. 6:38 remaining in the third period. Frank Chris is your quarterback. Chris hands off to Gladden. Gladden, working the far sideline, gets about 3. Second and 7 coming up for Chris. And the guys in blue and orange. Gladden appears to be your ball carrier. No, I'm sorry, Cobb, if I'm not mistaken, is the ball carrier. Cobb gets a hard-earned. I was going to say a hard-earned yard. They're going to say he lost a yard.
About Kenner tournament that starts the very beginning of December.
Third, Roosevelt is 1 for 5 unofficially on third down conversions. They're facing a 3rd and 8 right now. They need to get to at least the 30-yard line to be close to a first down. Chris is the pass, looking long, and overthrows his intended receiver, number 32, Terrence Brown. And so Roosevelt will be forced to punt with just over 5.5 remaining in the third period. Mitchell gets a high snap, and again, this time Mitchell, under pressure, tries to throw the ball, intercepted by the trainers and fumble, but the ball will go over on downs in any case to McKinley. McKinley will have the ball 1st and 10 from the Roosevelt 26-yard line. So again, Roosevelt turns the ball over. Actually, it will go over on downs. Costly mistake for Roosevelt. Will give the trainers 1st and 10 from the Roosevelt 26-yard line.
For the punter.
I don't think he had too much choice. It was either I don't think he would have gotten to the kickoff. I don't think. In any case, the trainers have the ball with Wilson remaining as your quarterback. Split backfield. Wilson throwing across the middle. Complete and then dropped. And again, a case of butterfingers plaguing the receivers on both teams. Number 85 for the trainers coming up with the interception. With the incomplete pass. Freddie Jones.
If Jones would have hauled that in, that would have been an excellent catch, Shelley, because he and the Roosevelt defender were both going at the ball at the same time. Would have been an excellent reception.
Not only that, had he have caught the ball, he would have been in the running for our most valuable player of the game award, because, to be quite honest with you, not so many people have stood out in this game, with the exception of Evans for McKinley and Gladden for Roosevelt. I was going to say intercepted, but incomplete. Almost intercepted by Gladden. So Gladden had a chance to be a hero for a minute there for Roosevelt, and he drops the ball.
He saw daylight. That's all he saw. That football turned into a giant 6. He miscalculated it.
So it'll be 3rd down and 10 for the trainers. Unofficially for McKinley, they're 0 for 3 on first down, and they're facing 3rd and 10 with 4:44 remaining in the third period, and they're up by 6. Wilson is your quarterback still. Wilson, back to pass, gets the ball away, good throw, intercepted by Roosevelt at about the 5, across the 10 to the 15. Fumble and recovered by Roosevelt at about the 20-yard line. And the Rough Riders get their first break of the ball game, or I should say their first break of this half, as they'll have it 1st and 10 from their own 22-yard line. That is McKinley's first turnover of the ball game.
He dropped, so that did buy him a little more time, but he definitely has been under pressure by the Roosevelt front line.
They're going to spot the ball inside the 20. So it'll be 1st and 10 from the 18 for Roosevelt, as the flag is thrown on this play. Face mask penalty. 1st and 10 from their own 30-yard line. Big hole for Gladden. Gladden may have fumbled the ball, and he did. Roosevelt saying they got the ball back, and they did. So 5 yards after the fumble, they're going to say 6. Call it 2nd down and 4. Second down and 4 coming up for the Rough Riders from their own 41-yard line. Frank Chris is your quarterback. Chris out of the eye, hands off to the D-back. Banged up right at the line of scrimmage is Cobb. Cobb is pushed back for a loss of 1.
This board is about 4 minutes.
3rd down and about 6 after the 2-yard loss, they're going to say. They give it to their bread and butter man, Gladden. Gladden trying to find some daylight, can't find it. And it's going to be a punting situation after a gain of about a yard for Gladden. It'll be 3rd. She was back to punt for the Riders. Evans is back deep for the Trainers to return. This time, Mitchell's blocked punt, picked up by a Trainer. Big number 72, caught inside the 40-yard line. It'll be McKinley's ball at that point, but we do have a flag on a play. And the Roosevelt special teams is struggling, to say the least.
I think that the rush on the punts is so strong by McKinley that the punter may only be able to take 1 step.
They have had the ball in Roosevelt territory every time they've had possession of it. This time they have it 1st and 10 from the Roosevelt 37-yard line, 38. We'll call it the 38. Wilson trying to pad on to the 6-point Tech lead. Delayed draw to Evans. Evans is not fooling any of the Roosevelt defending front line. And he may have lost a yard, maybe 2. Call it 2nd down and a dozen, with $1.04 remaining in the first half. They're going to say he lost 3, so call it 2nd down and 13. Again, Evans is your ball carrier, and he may get back to the original line of scrimmage. Flag is on a play. And they'll start the clock as soon as the ball is snapped. 32 seconds remaining in the first half. From out of the pocket, Wilson going long. Got a man open. Incomplete. Off his fingertips. The intended receiver for the Trainers was number 24. And he is not on our roster, so we can't acknowledge him. We can't acknowledge his name. And after dropping that ball, I'm sure he's glad that his name's not on the roster.
Absolutely. That ball was laid right in there, show. There was no reason for a jump at the end. It was laid on stride. Something normally you see on Monday Night Football. It was an excellent pass.
The clock stops with 20 seconds remaining in the third quarter, rather. 4th down punting situation coming up for McKinley. And McKinley, how they got that punt off, I don't know. And we have a Roosevelt fan applauding just simply because they got the ball. The defenders are right there as the clock runs down to 0, and the third period is now over. So they'll switch into the field. We'll take a break at the end of 3 periods of play. We're the home-standing Roosevelt Rough Riders All right, trailing the visiting McKinley Tech trainers by a score of 6-0. I'm Shelley Bowers Jr. along with Joseph Ankrum. They'll start the fourth period. After a penalty against McKinley, the Rough Riders will have the ball 2nd down and 5 from their own 35, 6-yard line. Another penalty on the ball game. And Joe, if we get another penalty, man, I don't know about you, but I'm going to do like Morris Day in the time and walk. Dead ball, legal procedure is called against Roosevelt, so that'll back them back up 5 yards. I'm sorry, folks, I don't mean to be hard on the players. I know they're doing their best, but they got 3 games under their belt, and we shouldn't be seeing all these penalties being mounted up. We're back to 2nd down and 10 now for the Rough Riders. Chris. Looked like some miscommunication there in the Roosevelt backfield. And there may be a loss on the play. That's going to bring up 3rd down and long. McKinley, or rather Roosevelt, unofficially is 1 for 7 on 3rd down conversions. Right now they're facing a 3rd and 11. 11:26 remaining in the ball game. Roosevelt looking for the equalizer. They're down by 6. Chris on the option. Fumbles the ball. Recovered by McKinley at about the 25-yard line. 1st and 10 Tech.
I know that pitch out was developed very well, but something happened on the pitch out. You could tell it was developing, and he looked like if he would have gotten it off cleanly, they would have gotten at least 10 yards.
Roosevelt has now fumbled the ball 4 times. They've lost it 3 times. And here's our little angel. She's finally awake now. She's like, Mommy, what do you have me out here for this cold game? Get me home. I know you viewers are wondering who I'm talking about. We'll try and get a shot of her later. As you see, Evans, your ball carrier. Now, Roosevelt say they have the ball right back, and they do. So McKinley turns the ball right back over to Roosevelt. And it'll be 1st and 10 for the Rough Riders.
Every game they play. 3 games? I mean, every game. They haven't won every game. You know? They won the game.
A lot. Oh, how many won?
They ain't win no game.
They won some last
They
year.
won homecoming to 85. So last year. They won homecoming last year. I'm sorry, man. What you gonna damn play?
Some confidence from the Roosevelt fans. By the way, that's McKinley's 2nd turnover of the ball game. They have 1 interception and 1 fumble. The fans are going to beat up on each other because football teams play well. Chris out of the pocket, looking long. And what Chris is doing, I don't know. Chris is throwing the ball long, but he doesn't have any receivers out there. He doesn't give him a chance to catch up to the ball. Third down and 9 coming up for the Rough Riders. 9:24 remaining in the ball game. Clock stops on the incomplete pass. Chris, under pressure, is going to be sacked inside the 10-yard line. And it's going to be 4th down long. Punting situation coming up for the trainers.
That was number 81 for McKinley.
Punting the ball. And Coach Tillison knows that and plays it safe and decides to call timeout with 8:53 remaining in the ball game. Here at Roosevelt High School, as the Cardinals of Bishop Ireton will invade D.C. as they'll take on the Roosevelt Rough Riders right back here at Roosevelt. Fourth down, punting situation. Mitchell in his end zone. High snap, and out of the end zone for safety, and McKinley will get 2 more points. The score is now 8-0 in favor of the Trainers.
8-0. That's 50-0.
It'll be 8 any second now, though.
He said 8-0. He said 8-0.
So again, the Roosevelt special team struggling as you see them tack on 2 more points to the Trainers' score to give McKinley an 8-0 lead. In a game like this, Joe, I guess 8-0 is a comfortable lead.
Yeah. I think it's time for the second string.
All you need is a safety at this ball. That had been a 3 point for Roosevelt. I don't think. Never mind, Joe. And here's the ensuing kickoff after the safety. And they're going to bring it back and do it all over again. And evidently the officials weren't ready to kick the ball off. Here's the kickoff again. An end-over-end kick taken at about the 47 of Roosevelt. Inside the 40 to the 35. Still on his feet, working his way to about the 33-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 McKinley from that point.
Big kid was moving.
Yeah, and we have an injured Trainer on the field. And they'll stop the clock with 8:43 remaining. 1st and 10 for the McKinley Tech Trainers from the Roosevelt 29-yard line. 8:28 remaining in the ball game. Clock is running. Wilson, still your quarterback, trying to pad on to the 8-point lead. Wilson hands off to Gladden. I'm sorry, that's Evans. Evans breaking tackles, getting close to a 1st down for the Trainers inside the 20-yard line. The 25, rather. One for the Trainers. Wilson again with a split backfield. Here's a pitch to number 42 to the far side. Pretty high pitch by Wilson to number 42, Maurice Cobb. And up remaining in the ball game. Unofficially for McKinley, that's their 8th penalty of the ball game. Tech facing 3rd down and long. Wilson back to pass. Under pressure, gets the ball away, throwing across the middle. Intercepted by Roosevelt. Inside the 15, returns to the 20. To the 25, he's got room to work with. To the 40. Go to 45, the 50, cross midfield, inside the territory, to the 25, the 20, the 10, the 5, touchdown, Roosevelt, and listen to this crowd, Joe. A 78-yard interception return for a touchdown by the Rough Riders puts them on the scoreboard. I missed the guy's number, but the Rough Riders have a chance to tie this ball game up with 6:40 remaining in the ball game, and now all of a sudden the Roosevelt cheerleaders decide to come back into the stadium. Folks, we do have a ball game after all. I guess that's good news for us, Joe, because afraid they were going to beat us up after a while, taking the football players' bad play out on us, man.
Yeah, I was
Lumumba Yancey. Yancey, unofficially 78-yard touchdown return on the interception. Here's the all-important 2-point conversion. I bet you number 44 is going to get his number called. No, he doesn't. It's a Naughton. Here, to the reverse to the near side. Touchdown, Roosevelt. 2-point conversion is made. And listen to this crowd. Roosevelt fans are fired up. And listen, now the cheerleaders are back. Listen to this crowd.
Ricardo, we going to 4 eyes after this. Taking regard to the Pearl Vision Center, 4 eyes. That was an excellent play, Shelley. That was excellent. The Dean reached deep down in his wisdom and came out with a winner. The old McKinley defense was set up to the, or went to the left. And like you said, a lot of them thought Gladden was going to get it, so he got the initial fake.
We have a tie ball game, folks. 8-8. I missed who made the two-point conversion for Roosevelt, but it was an excellent call by head coach James Tillerson with 6:40 remaining in the ball game, and we are tied. Mitchell with the ensuing kickoff. The Roosevelt crowd is back into the game. The cheerleaders are back down on the track. Here's the kickoff return, taking it to the 25, the 30. Return across the 32-yard line. Number 42, Maurice Cobb, and the Trainers will have the ball 1st and 10 from their own 32. And what has been a rarity in the ball game, McKinley will have the ball in their own territory, Joe. So this is something new for the Trainers this go around.
Yeah, they have a job in front of them. Even though the score is tied, the momentum is definitely swung in the favor of the Roosevelt Rough Riders.
Keep in mind, since this is a divisional game, we will have overtime should this game end in a tie. 1st and 10 for McKinley from their own 32-yard line. The winner of this ball game will be tied for first place with Cardoza and either McKinley or Dunbar. Either Dunbar or Wilson. And now the Roosevelt defense is starting to tighten up, trying to get some of this momentum from the touchdown.
Absolutely. The defense did score the touchdown, and they drove number 31 for McKinley. Andre Baltimore back.
Back to Baltimore?
Almost. Lee Townsend.
A loss of 2 on the play, 2nd down and 12. George Wilson remains your quarterback for the Trainers. Split backfield. Wilson fumble on the exchange, and Wilson does the smart thing by just jumping back on it. It'll be 3rd down and long. On 3rd down conversions, right now they're facing a 3rd and 12. They need to get to at least the 42-yard line to be even close to the 1st down. Wilson back to pass. It's a lateral picked up by Evans. Evans can't even get back to the original line of scrimmage. And Evans is mad at his teammate for missing a block.
Look at that expression is sight. Roosevelt defense is absolutely positively sight.
4th down punting situation coming up for McKinley with the clock running, 4:14 remaining in regulation time. 4th down and about 13. So McKinley will be punting for a change. This is Brooks. Brooks gets off a high end-over-end kick. Takes a neutral bounce. Now it takes a McKinley bounce inside the 40-yard line, and it will die at the Roosevelt 38-yard line. Good field position for the Rough Riders. 1st and 10 from their own 38. 3:31 remaining in regulation. Only 9th penalty of the ball game. Brooks will have to do it all over again. Low snap, no rush. A short kick this time. They have a chance for a return. Gladden cutting back to the far sideline. Now is caught in no man's land and is brought down at about the 45-yard line. They'll spot it at the 46. So Roosevelt gambled by taking a penalty, and it paid off. So instead of having 1st and 10 from their own 38, they'll have it 1st and 10 from their own 47-yard line. At least one timeout remaining. 1st and 10 from the Roosevelt 47-yard line. Folks, we do have a ball game after all. Stay with us. Out of the eye is Chris. Chris hands off to Gladden near the up back, and Gladden is smothered. Now McKinley's defense is trying to get fired up. What'd you say?
Could be.
11 penalties called against McKinley unofficially. 1st and 10, Roosevelt from the trainer 22-yard line. Chris trying to pass the ball. Screen pass, complete to Cobb. Cobb cuts inside, is brought down from behind after a pickup of a couple of yards.
Excellent catch by Cobb. It was low. He reached down, picked it up, and only had a fraction of a second to avoid a McKinley defender who was right on him to pick up about 5 yards.
Clock is running. $1.42 remaining in regulation. Cobb only picked up 2 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 8. I don't know if Roosevelt has a kicking game. I doubt it, so I'm sure they'll be trying to go for all the marbles. Here's Chris from out of the eye. Chris hands off to the up back. That's Gladden. Gladden trying to struggle forward for some yardage. He may have a couple of yards. It's going to bring up 3rd down and about 6 with 1:12 remaining in regulation. And now they're going to stop the clock. McKinley, believe it or not, has scored any touchdowns. We can see if we can get these young ladies here on the camera. Unofficially for Roosevelt, they're 1 for 9 on 3rd down conversions. They're facing 3rd and 5. Chris looking to pass from out of the pocket. Got a man open, complete. Breaking the tackle, Cobb, touchdown, Roosevelt. And with 58 seconds left, Roosevelt has the lead. Listen to this crowd.
Heck of a catch and run by number 18, Joe.
Well, I apologize. I thought that was Cobb. In all actuality, it was number 18, Anthony Lancaster, 5'8", 150-pound sophomore. So the 10th grader has become instant hero at Roosevelt High School by putting the Rough Riders up on top. But wait a minute, there's a flag on the play, and this may be against Roosevelt. And the touchdown may be nullified. Let's see what the good guy in the white cap calls. Holding against Roosevelt. So bring off the 6 point. Roosevelt will have to do this all over again. Wipe off the touchdown. And it's going to be 3rd down and 15 now, with the score still tied. The touchdown being nullified. Chris again looking to pass. Looking in the end zone, got a man slightly open and overthrows his intended receiver. Gladden was open. He had his man beat, but the ball looked like it was heading out of the end zone anyway. And so again, mistakes have hurt both teams. Roosevelt picked up their 8th penalty of the ball game at the most crucial time. Now what do you do, Joe? Do you go for the touchdown or you go for the 1st down and go from there? First calling Joe. Come in, Joe. Chris is going to be sacked. McKinley will take over on downs, 1st and 10 from their own 35-yard line. And now McKinley will have a chance to pull off the ball game in regulation with 44 seconds left. They'll have it 1st and 10 now from their own 34-yard line. 35 seconds actually now remaining in the ball game. Clock is running. Wilson, will he go for all the marbles? Yes, he will. Looking up top. Got a man on the far side, on the near side. Incomplete. Flag on the play, almost intercepted by number 34 for Roosevelt. The intended receiver was number 2 for the trainers, but there is a flag on the play. And the good guy in the white cap is going to call against McKinley. McKinley's 12th penalty of the ball game. And that'll back them up. And second down and 20. Second and 15, actually, against coming up for McKinley. 22 seconds remaining in the ball game. Clock is stopped now on the incomplete pass. Wilson again trying to go up top for all the marbles. Going long and overthrows his intended receiver. Almost intercepted by the Rough Riders again. And I look around. I see no flag. And it will be third down and long. And long with 1 tick left on the clock. And we have an injured trainer on the field. Period left, 1 period. 1 second left in the 4th period. McKinley has 1 Hail Mary left up their sleeve. Again, George Wilson is your quarterback. Wilson will be trying to go for the Hail Mary. Wilson fumbles the ball, and I don't know who recovered, but it's all academic, as the ball game will conclude with an 8-8 score. So we'll go into overtime with an 8-8 score. And they'll have a few minutes, a couple of minutes of intermission. Actually, I thought it was, yeah, it is the end of the ball. I'm out here freezing. So McKinley will have the ball from the 10-yard line, 4 down. McKinley has 4 downs to get the ball in the end zone. All right, here it is. Tie ball game. First down and goal from the 10-yard line. Your quarterback for the Trainers is number 12. That's Gordon Wilson. Wilson, loose exchange, passes the ball, incomplete. It'll be second down and goal from the 10-yard line for the Trainers. That's a big play for Roosevelt, because if they had come up with the interception, I don't know if that would have been the end of the drive and Roosevelt would have taken over, or if McKinley still would have had 3 more. Do you think that would have been the end of the drive? Well, I don't know. I don't know. Well, in any case, it was incomplete, so we don't have to worry about it. Second down and goal from the 10. Fumble on the play, and McKinley has it back. McKinley falls back on the ball, but they may have lost some yardage on the play, and that makes the job for the Trainers even harder. It's going to be third down and goal. Let's see where they spot the ball. From about the 12. Third and goal from about the 12.
Big number 70, Corey Sanders, 6'3", 250-pound junior, caught the running back for McKinley in the backfield for the loss. Excellent penetration on his part.
And now McKinley is going to call timeout here. I'm sure if you're Coach Queen, you want to at least get a couple of yards on the first 2 plays. But McKinley now is faced with the third down. They only have 2 plays to go, and they're backed up 2 yards. So instead of moving forward, they're moving backwards, and they only have 2 plays remaining. So Coach Queen is faced with a tough decision here. Keep in mind, the clock has no significance. It's not even running.
Like, God bless. We'll see out of here.
Third down and goal from the 12-yard line. Here's Wilson making his call to split backfield. Wilson the pass. Throwing in the corner. Incomplete. Looked like he had a man there open. Number 24 was the intended receiver. And that was... Oh, he's not on our roster. But in any case, it's fourth down and 12. Dwayne Drummond? Okay, Dwayne Drummond is his name. Now, McKinley has a place-kicking unit. Will they go for the field goal? I don't see the place kicker in there anywhere. Yes, he is. There he is. Number 10. He's going to spot the ball at about the 20-yard line. So this will be a 30-yard field goal attempt. And now McKinley is rushing in some players at the last second. And now we may have delay of game called against the trainers. That'll back them up 5. Another calling a timeout. So McKinley calls a timeout. And to do the place kicking honors, again, is number 10. That's Idris Anabudo. And Anabudo is going to attempt a field goal to 30 yards to give the trainers the lead. He's a left-footed kicker, but he is good. So here we go. Anabudo to attempt a field goal of 30 yards to give the trainers a 3-point lead. Low snap. Block. And the Roosevelt Rough Rider defense has held, so the score will remain 8-8, and Roosevelt will now have 4 down from the 10-yard line. The holder for McKinley never did have the ball, and Anabudo didn't get a chance to get under it.
It was so poor. It was a situation where either Anabudo or the holder could have just gotten up and tried another play.
Yeah.
There was no shot of that going anywhere.
So now the McKinley Tech defensive unit comes in. The Roosevelt offensive unit is in. The Rough Riders will have it 1st and 10 from the 10-yard line. 1st and goal from the 10-yard line. Roosevelt needs to get in the end zone. First and goal, Roosevelt from the 10. Your quarterback is number 12, Frank Cripp. And now Roosevelt. Okay. They had me fooled there for a minute. Cripp. Hands off to Gladden. Gladden breaking one tackle. Still on his feet. Inside of the 10. Close down to a 5. To the 5. They're going to spot it at about the 5. It'll be 2nd down and goal from the 5-yard line.
Do we have to go any further?
You got to get in the end zone. Actually, he's at the 4-yard line. So it's going to be 2nd and goal from the 4. So Roosevelt already got yardage on the first play, and they're in good shape. Second down and 4. And I bet you Gladden's going to get his number called again, and he does. Gladden tries to go to the far side. May have picked up a yard. And let's see how they spot it. They'll give him a half a yard. It'll be 3rd down and goal from about the 4-yard line. We'll say the 3. Give him the benefit of the doubt. This is play number 3 of 4 coming up for Roosevelt. They need to get the ball in the end zone. Gladden again gets his number called. Gladden pushing his way forward. Touchdown, Roosevelt. Roosevelt wins the ball game 14-8. And listen to the Roosevelt crowd. Robert Gladden, 5'9", 160-pound senior, pushes his way in the end zone 3 yards to give Roosevelt a 14-8 victory over McKinley Tech. Roosevelt is now tied with Cardozo and either Dunbar or Wilson for first place in the DCIAA West Division. Final score, Roosevelt 14, McKinley 8 in overtime. Joe, sloppy first half of the ball game. Got very exciting in the final period. What a way to cast it in overtime. Sudden death.
Absolutely. For those fans who stay tuned for the entire ball game, They definitely enjoyed a very fine last quarter, actually second half.
Most valuable player, Joe, I don't know about you, but I got to go with the big guy, number 44.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though the Roosevelt defense got him back into the game, he played well all game, even when they were behind.
So Robert Gladden, who has the winning score for the Rough Riders, has been selected as our most valuable player of the game. And for his efforts this evening, Gladden receives a 93.9 WKYS T-shirt, courtesy of 93.9 KISS FM.
It was good. Good game.
As you get a good look at the players congratulating each other on a well-fought ball game, and the Roosevelt players running to the right side goal post. And we're going to head on down here to the field and get us some post-game interviews for you. Roosevelt, the home-standing Rough Riders, 14, and the visiting Tech Trainers, 8. And I'm standing here with head coach James Tillerson, the dean of Roosevelt High School, and along with him is our most valuable player, Robert Gladden. Robert, let me start with you. You're a senior now at Roosevelt High School. Do you feel that because the undergraduates here at Roosevelt, that you got to take a role like this and step forward and come up with the big plays this year?
Well, not really. I think as a team, as a whole, we work together, we work real hard, and that's to better us in going into our season.
You all were struggling in your first 3 ball games, but now look at you now. You're in first place you're tied in first place in the West Division with Cardoza, and either Dunbar or Wilson, pending the outcome of their ball game. What is this game, in your opinion, what does this game have to say to the rest of the teams in the West Division?
Well, I think that this year, the West Division is not stronger than it was last year. It's up for grabs. It's anybody's ball game. We just got to go out every week and play hard.
Do you have any personal goals where you're Roosevelt this last year?
Well, this year, I think for my last personal goal, I would like to make it to the championship to please coach.
All right, that's Robert Gladden. Right now, the head coach Tillerson. Coach Tillerson, at the beginning of the game, it was penalty play for the most part. In the first half, you all seemed to be penalized a lot. In the second half, it was McKinley that was getting penalized a lot. In your opinion, what do you think was the turning point in the ball game that was more or less the deciding factor?
Well, the turning point in the ball game was our defense, and we picked out that interception, returned it for a touchdown. They gave us some momentum, and we tied the ball game. Then we held them, and they held us, and we went into overtime. I figured we get in overtime, we probably could pull it out.
Let's add on about your defense now. Both Tech's defense and your defense scored the initial touchdowns in the ball game. Do you think that's going to be a key factor to your play in the rest of the season, the defense?
I don't think so. Our defense played well all season. It's a matter of offense coming along, getting our timing down, and getting all our plays in, and a little hard work. More hard work, we'll do a better job on offense.
Next Friday night, you got a non-league matchup against the Cardinals of Bishop Ireton out of Northern Virginia. What can we expect? What do we know about Bishop Ireton? First of all, what kind of game plan will you take against them?
Well, we don't know that much about them, but we're just going to come out and work on our running, blocking, and tackling, and we're going to go basic and see what they do, and then from there we might go with some other plays.
All right, well, we congratulate you and your teammates on the victory tonight. And, Michael, getting back to you, because you are our most valuable player of the game, we have for you a 93.9 WKYS T-shirt, courtesy of KISS FM. So we wish Robert Gladden and Coach Tillerson and the rest of the team the best of luck in the rest of their play this year. Again, the final score from Roosevelt is the Rough Riders 14, McKinley 8 in overtime. We'll be right back here this Friday night, actually, at Roosevelt, when the Rough Riders will take on the Cardinals of Bishop Ireton. We'll televise that game next Wednesday night on DCTV Cable 34. I'm Shelley Bowers Jr., and on behalf of Joseph Ankerman, Ricardo Smith, and the entire Shell Shot Productions crew, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week right back here at Roosevelt. Let's hear it, guys.
Yeah!
Congratulations.